Hi, everyone. I'm Cadet Emily Rowley, your Professional Development Training Officer, and this is Aircast. This week, we will be discussing the responsibilities, the difficulties, and the rewarding things about running a wing with our very own wing commander, Cadet Trinia Madrano. Hello, thank you for joining me today.
Thanks for having me. Is this exciting?
It's been a long-awaited episode. I've wanted to discuss your job and your senior year with you for a long time now. And I think that the wing will find this beneficial and professionally developing.
Your job.
And then for those of you listening, if my voice sounds kind of weird today, it's because I actually have COVID while we're recording this. But don't worry, Cadet Madrano is joining me over Zoom today, so I will not be infecting your wing commander. Okay, let's get started with the first question. Can you please describe to me your leadership philosophy?
Absolutely. And you're hitting me with hard questions like from the get-go. All right. So this was on my wing commander board packet. My leadership philosophy says those who are greatest among you should take the lowest rank, and the leader should be like a servant. For some people who are more religious, that may be familiar, and it is because it's from the Bible, Luke 22:26. And this is when Jesus is just talking to the disciples about, servant leadership. And that's really what my leadership philosophy is. I want to lead from the bottom or from behind, right? Pushing people forward and equipping them rather than, pulling them forward or up. So yeah, that's my leadership philosophy.
Yeah, no, I think that's really cool. And that's kind of something we are taught from the very beginning is like when you're out in the field, your commander or leader should always go last. And when we're learning like procedures for field training, the flight commander is always the last person in the road, the last person inside the building. So that's just kind of like physical and real life situations of kind of this like idea that is going to help people.
Right.
I kind of like the idea as far as leadership goes of making people like envision their future. It's like sort of that inspirational motivation that that we always learn about in class.
Yeah.
I think that's like kind of the leadership philosophy I like to lean towards. A word that I like to think about a lot when I think about a good leader is visionary. So, yeah, I think to be a good leader, you have to not think about all of those objectives and taskers. And yeah, like those are obviously extremely important to hit. So those need to be on your radar, but I think like the bigger picture and the more important thing is where you're going and why are we needing to hit these objectives and why do we need to hit these taskers. And it's really not about checking a box. Those boxes are just going to help us get there in the end. And I think my leadership philosophy style would lean towards like trying to portray that to my followers and make them understand that so that they can grow their followers, and it's kind of just like a big circle.
Yeah. I think you already hit on a lot of what you do as a leader. It's not to necessarily think about the tiny details, although yes, you said that is a big part of it, but more of where do we go from here, right? You set the direction and the final destination for the people you lead. And they're going to worry about how to get there.
Yeah,
right.
no, and it's all about a dream, and it's all about making the dream real and doing it as a team and doing it together. And that's how you get there is you can't just go alone. Especially as a officer in the Air Force.
Something else you said that was interesting is teaching your people how to do that themselves so that they can teach their followers how to do the same thing. That's what a leader does, right? They grow more leaders, not just followers, right? That's what a good leader would do. So I don't know. I think you're on a good track in terms of having a really good leadership philosophy.
It's definitely exactly what I meant by that. And I kind of have thought a lot about that this last year because we watch a lot of Simon Sinek videos in AS class. Thank you, Captain Snyder. Can you please explain the vision statement you wrote for our wing this semester?
Yeah, great segue. So here's the vision statement. We strive to create a culture of learning and high morale through teamwork, empowering training, and purposeful feedback. We will lead by example, hold each other accountable, and encourage growth, right? We just talked about how being a good leader is all about creating more leaders and not just followers. And if you look at this, a culture of learning within our detachment and within, the subordinates will not just lead to, knowing how to do their jobs better, but knowing how to lead other people so that they deliver great results and also strive to be better themselves. And so the teamwork aspect, empowering training, and purposeful feedback, those are just kind of the ways that we're going to get to the culture of learning and high morale. And then leading by example, holding each other accountable, and encouraging growth are just three of the things that will also be part of that culture of, learning and high morale. Encouraging growth specifically was one thing that I focused on this semester. I challenged my wing staff a lot. They would come to me with questions and I would push back and I would say, okay, I'm not going to answer this. How about you come to me with a plan, or you come to me with the answer to that question and I'll just give you a yes or a no or how to improve that answer, right? And so by doing that, I was encouraging growth in my people. And sometimes I would fail, but sometimes I would explain to them, like, I'm not just doing this so that I don't have to do it. I'm doing this so that you can tell your people the same thing. Like, you are empowering them to come up with solutions to problems. As a 300, you've probably heard the phrase, your job as an officer is to come up with concrete solutions to ambiguous problems, right?
Yep.
So put your leaders in that situation and grow them that way. So that's what I kind of did.
Yeah, no, and I think that's something that's really important to think about when you have so many people and so many cards in the game, because you can't be the one to come up with all the ideas and think of everything that needs to happen because there's just too much happening. And that's why you chose certain people for certain jobs, because you know that they'll be able to come up with those creative ideas for the mission, come up with what's necessary.
Yep.
What are your main responsibilities as wing commander?
Oh my goodness. My responsibilities are listed in my job descriptions. So I have to do that. The biggest one is to ensure that all the training we do, well, at least most of them, align with AFROTC 36-2011, Volume 1. You guys have heard that term thrown around all the time. Volume 1. Volume 1, Volume 1. That is essentially the backbone of our program right now. That guides us with the training that we do. So that's kind of a big part of my responsibility, is to ensure that our training aligns with Volume 1, but also to develop leaders, right? POC, we're making sure that they're being challenged and that they're growing in their leadership skills through their jobs and other responsibilities that they may have. Some other responsibilities that I've had, or that I have, which are passed down through commander's intent. You guys heard this during our first lead lab, are safety. So make sure that the cadets are safe, especially in this COVID environment. All the training needs to be safe. We have to make sure that the seniors graduate. I have to get them through the finish line, or at least help them get through the finish line. And last but not least, prepare the 200s and 300s for field training and ensure that they have all that they need, that they are equipped to graduate field training. And then 100s and 300s, just continue developing them, right? So a lot regarding the cadet wing, the cadets in the cadet wing.
Yeah, that's a lot. And you definitely want to make sure you have the right hands on each mission.
For sure. I mean, it's been pretty good so far, I think.
Yeah, unfortunately, I can't go to Warrior Day. It's like the worst week to get sick.
I know.
But it's okay. But I think that you're doing a really good job in making sure that we are still gonna hit those objectives and develop like we always do, even in the most trying circumstances.
Thank you.
What are some of your accomplishments as wing commander?
This is the hardest thing. I don't like taking credit for, my team's work. They are crushing it, right?
Yeah, how about you just brag about your people?
Yeah, okay, let's brag about my people. So, first of all, actually, half of the events that we're supposed to have this semester at this time in the recording, they haven't even happened yet. So tomorrow, 27 March, one of them will be Warrior Day, and then 2 weeks from now, FLX, and everybody's excited about that. And then there's going to be award ceremonies and maybe a senior promenade in that. And then last but not least, commissioning. So honestly, I can say I've accomplished those things as a wing commander after I'm done being a wing commander. But aside from that, like the fact that we're here, and we're still functioning smoothly with lead labs, PTs, we just accomplished a mock FA with OG's planning and execution. That is amazing. And then MSG with the Battle of Tibet 665, with Flight Wars, those things have been amazing. And something you don't see as, as a participant in the NTG is the amount of work that goes behind objective tracking. So if you guys don't know this, but FTP, the 300s and the 400s have accomplished at least 65% of their objectives this semester or the whole year. And we're on track to finish maybe 95%. Because of COVID regulations, we can't hit all of them very well, right? But the fact that we can hit that much in such little time, and with the restrictions that we have, tells me that we're doing something right. And TG is kind of a beast, same as OG, because they do a lot of the weekly operations, and same as MSG because they hit a lot of the events that also tick off some of those objectives. So they're pretty great. Oh, and let's not forget IG. Let's give him a shout out because his evals also cover some objectives.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, no, that's kind of reassuring, the number tracking on the TG side as a FTP cadet, but but yeah, those are definitely some awesome accomplishments. So shout out to everyone involved.
Indeed.
What has been your favorite thing about being wing commander?
My favorite thing about being a wing commander, and I'm gonna say this is cliche, is really my people, wing staff, and the people that they have as well, right? So some of them, yes, there's tension, and that's just how it's gonna be when you're in a high stress environment, right? But at the end of the day, everybody works so well together, at least in my team, right? I can work with them through that tension, and still deliver great results and not burn bridges. The fact that we can put aside personal differences, different opinions, and come together to create a better product, to me, is amazing. And through that process, we've just created a tighter bond with each other. So we go to each other when we're just complaining, when we're exhausted and we're like, can't do this, you take care of it. And, it happens. But I could not have asked for a better team this semester. In addition to that, they have kind of allowed me to interact with the rest of the wing more because of how well we all work together.
Yeah.
I hope that they're able to do the same. Maybe I've just swamped them with too much work that they can't do the same. So I'm sorry.
I don't know. No, I think that's a really, really good way of looking at it. Having all these minds come together to make something that is better than any one person could make on their own, which I think is something that everyone can appreciate and everyone can think about when they are working with their own team, how no matter how small or large it is.
I love your perspective.
Thank you.
Yeah.
But I do have to throw in here what my favorite part about you being wing commander is.
What is it?
Creating the PDTO job for sure.
Hey, absolutely. I knew you were the person for that job. And you can put this in the Aircast episode. I knew you were it.
Yeah, no,
There was no other person to have that for the first time.
That's so nice. I was so excited when I saw my name on the org chart, and I was like, oh my gosh, I have all of these amazing things I can do. And then I come in and there's a lot more responsibilities than I initially thought, but I'm just so I'm so grateful for the opportunity to show everyone that I can do this. I can communicate with the wing. I can get the wing excited about professional development, even if it is now a requirement.
Absolutely. I mean, it's always been a requirement, right? But I think that's where you came in.
Yeah.
That's where you came in and made them excited about doing something like this.
Yeah. It's definitely interesting. There's a lot of tedious details when it comes to tracking every single person in the wing, what PDTs they've completed, have they completed at least one GNC, where are they out in that process, have they turned in their MFR, have they done all of the requirements, and then POC are even more difficult because they have to do follow-up requirements depending on what the PDT was. So yeah, there's a lot of balls in the air, but cadethood really helped set me up on
Yes.
path to success there with getting a really nice tracker set up and getting it filled in with all the initial details. But yeah, no, I'm really excited that I had the opportunity to really grow my communication skills and help keep the wing organized and on the right path towards graduation and development.
That's awesome.
What are some lessons you've learned as wing commander?
Oh man, so much.
I can only imagine.
Yes. There will always be things you can improve in. You've probably heard the saying, if you think you're the smartest in the room, then you're in the wrong room.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And so as a wing commander, I've always been really intentional about making sure everyone's voices are heard and their opinions are said, because in that process someone may say something that I haven't really considered before, and we can move forward with that. Like how I was saying with, we come out with a better product at the end because we just have differing opinions. That is a big lesson for me as a wing commander. It's just like making sure that I'm learning as I'm listening. Another big lesson that I've learned is I don't have time to get into the nitty gritty details of everything. And so I have a lot of control, but at the same time, I don't have a lot of control, right? And so if someone proposes a plan to me that may not have been something that I considered before, it kind of goes back to my previous point, and it works. It wasn't necessarily something that I wanted to do, but it works in accomplishing the objective. I can't tell that person to just, hey, change it and make it like this, just because it's not something that I saw before. If it accomplishes the same objective, like I can't tell them how to do it, because then that's just, it just takes up so much more of my time.
Yeah,
right?
really.
Right. So it the lesson from that is that I really have to tell them the what they need to do and not the how they're going to do it.
Mm-hmm.
So I've been really bad at that. I'm a very controlling person, and I have had to really pry my hands off of these projects and just be like, okay, that works. Move forward with it. That doesn't work. Consider this other thing. That's when I would step in. But
yeah, that's definitely an issue. I think I could do some learning on. I definitely like to have every T crossed and every I dotted, and it has to be the way that I want it crossed and the way I want it dotted, just because I have an idea of how I want it crossed and dotted.
right.
And I definitely think I could do well to step back sometimes and be okay with, a process that isn't maybe how exactly I envisioned, just because I can't go in and say, hey, it needs to be this way because I think it would be better this way, because honestly we don't know what the end product is going to be like either way, so we have to kind of let the process play out a little bit.
Right. So it kind of goes back to letting your people grow and empowering them to make their own decisions and plans, right? And just approving or disapproving. And also communication. My goodness, that is a big learning lesson as a commander. Your words, just you're the same person, you speak the same way, but that position and the authority that comes with it just weighs so much more. And so your words are like the final say for the rest of the wing. And so if you say no, it's a no. Right. And so I have to learn how to communicate so that my words aren't necessarily the final say. It's more of like, here's a suggestion. I'm not saying it's a no, I'm not saying it's a yes, but here's a suggestion or a consideration that you may not have had before.
Yeah, it's kind of like finding a balance between when you have to make the final decision and realizing that you shouldn't really be doing that all the time. And that's maybe not something, well, it's not something you've always had the chance to do because you're wing commander only this semester, and other than cadethood, none of us have been wing commanders. So it's maybe not something we always understand, that when we make a decision, it can always be overturned, and it can be overturned for you as well with cadre, but you have to realize the weight of your decisions. And this is something Cadet Lewis always says, is think of the impact your decisions have on your people.
Yes. Wise words.
Do you have any final goals for the last few weeks of the semester?
Yes. Okay, let's start from today. A successful Warrior Day, aka
tomorrow.
FTPB, yes, tomorrow, aka FTP being tired, but also making sure that they're learning and they come away with it. Except you, I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Yeah, but if we get the feedback that, hey, that was actually great and we learned a lot from it, that's successful to me, right?
Mm-hmm.
Just things to hit, FLX, absolutely, same thing. And it will increase morale, hopefully, and then end the
Mm-hmm.
year with a bang.
What literally?
Mm-hmm.
K-pop
Literally.
gun bang.
Yep. Awards, just making sure we hit that right. And then just a personal goal, graduation and commissioning.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So just those.
How's that final stretch of school going for you?
It's not too bad. Being an MBA student is not too bad.
So you have all your
Really,
engineering classes done?
oh, yes. Yep.
Oh man, I could only dream of that.
Yeah. The business side of things is a lot easier than the engineering side of things. That's not to say that engineering students should move to the business side. Don't do that. I'm just saying it's a little easier.
Yeah, some goals that I have for the last few weeks is just make the most out of the time I have with all of you to prepare myself for field training, but also make the most time that I have left with you seniors and really prepare myself for the rest of my life. I mean, obviously, I'm not going to be completely prepared, but take what you guys have taught me and instill that. So that way, I will have those lessons with me,
Yeah.
um, my entire career. Always going to be a part of us.
Can't make me cry.
I'm really trying to, aren't I? Looking
Oh,
back over your time as an Aircat, what are you most proud of? Or just some things that you're proud of. You don't have to choose one.
some things that I'm most proud of being here.
Yes, don't undersell that one. It's a
Yeah.
major accomplishment.
Not really even, I mean, yes, being a wing commander, but at the end of the day, the fact that I'm here
Mm-hmm.
at the end of, senior year, after 5 years of being in the program, I'm still a cadet and about to commission into the world's greatest Air Force. And that is something I'm really proud of.
Yeah, I'm proud of myself for being in my third year. So I can't
I
imagine that
bet.
pride
Hmm.
when I'm a fifth
Well
year.
done.
But yeah, likewise.
No, I'm proud of you guys.
Oh,
I'm
I knew
proud of
we were gonna go there.
absolutely. I am proud of the cadets that are in the program right now and those of you who are about to lead the program next semester after we leave. You guys have so much to bring to the table, and I'm constantly in awe of all of that. I just stand back and observe sometimes and I'm just like, how did they even think of that? Like, what's going on in their heads that's making them approach these old leadership scenarios in such different ways? Like, you guys innovate, you're innovators. Like you with this podcast and your PDTO job. I know it's new and you do have to be creative with it, but you went way beyond expectations with this. And so I'm just proud of how you guys take advantage of every opportunity you're given and you are growing in that. And so I don't know, I'm just proud. I can just stand back.
Well,
Yep.
that's amazing, and I hope that you take that with you And I hope you know that you and a lot of the seniors and cadre, they all give us the tools to kind of build what we're building. And I think that I speak for everyone when I say that I'm happy that when you guys give us the tools and we build something that you guys are proud of
You bet. You're making me cry.
it. I'm sorry. I knew that I knew I had that power. What will you miss most about .665 when you graduate?
Again, cliche, the people,
Mm-hmm.
the camaraderie. That was one of the biggest things that encouraged me or inspired me to come into the military, right? The camaraderie that comes with it, the family that you gain after joining the service, because that is a really deep reason to join a service. And I mean, it's not just you're signing up for 4 years to serve, you're literally putting your life on the line. You're signing a piece of paper to say, I will give my life up to protect this constitution, this country, and my people, right? Knowing that other people share that same passion is really deep. So I'm just getting a taste of it now in ROTC, but also the fact that I've grown with these people. We were all kids when we joined ROTC, and now we're literally leading the whole wing and helping you guys grow. Just looking back, I'm like, wow, the nostalgia that comes with that is beautiful. It's sweet. But I think that's the biggest thing. I will definitely miss the people,
Yeah,
because they're like my sisters and brothers, almost literally.
really.
They're best friends. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's really something that I think I've learned a lot about since my time in AFROTC, and really more specifically this past semester. I've really learned what service is all about. It's not about giving up things that maybe you wanted for the greater good. It's more about the greatness that you feel when the things that you do are directly impacting the lives of others, and it's
Mm.
all for others. It's definitely something I didn't always value when I was younger, and I'm learning a whole lot more about it during my time here as a cadet. But yeah, I mean, I've even experienced a little bit of missing your people, being on co-op for a year, and
Yes.
I definitely fell away for sure. Didn't really stay in touch a whole lot, and I came back and I was just so excited to see everyone and so excited to get back and serve our wing. So I
Yeah.
really agree with you. And just so you know, we're all a text or phone call away.
And for you guys
We're a
too.
Zoom
I
call.
mean, yeah, we're a Zoom call away.
Exactly. Okay, so now to turn it to a more upbeat notes. What are you most excited about for graduating and entering the big Air Force?
I'm just gonna say this straight up. It is 26 March. It's a Friday. It's 6:16 p.m. and we have not found out about our bases yet, and I'm not excited about it.
Oh man.
Uh, but seriously speaking, I am definitely excited to get out there and put everything I've learned to use and serve a different set of people, like either by leading or by following, and see the tangible impact I have in the big Air Force. That's exciting to me. Right now, it's really weird. As an ROTC cadet in your uniform, you get thanked for your service, and you're like,
Mhm.
it's not a big deal. I'm not in the service yet. Oh, yes, you are. If you're a POC cadet and you've signed a contract, you are in the service for what, 6 years at least, because you're serving for the last 2 years of your
degree.
college career. Yeah, and then you're going to go and serve 4 more years, right? So yes, you are serving. Be proud of it. And if you're a contracted GMC cadet, same for you, right? But
it is kind of like having a job.
Exactly. Yeah. If they haven't experienced that yet, they will.
It's real.
Yeah. But graduating and being the big blue, I'm just excited to get out there.
Yeah. And find out what it's really about.
Mm-hmm.
I like to think about this. This is something that Neil deGrasse Tyson says, but so if you think about it, what you know is like a circle, and everything you know is inside the circle, and everything you don't know is outside of the circle. But what you can think about is the perimeter, and the more you know, the more your circle grows, and so too does that perimeter grow. So you have more things to think about and more things that you can inquire and be creative and try to dream about. So you know more about the unknown. I don't know. I think
you don't know. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. Yeah. So it's like right now our circle is kind of slowly growing, but I think maybe when we make that jump to the real Air Force, then I feel like the circle is gonna, grow really exponentially.
For sure. I'm excited for that. Definitely.
Yeah, get some of those questions answered. I don't know.
Yeah.
Because it does get a little bit tiring not understanding and having to just like think about what you're gonna do so abstractly. Is that a word? Abstractly?
Abstractly. Yeah. I mean, I guess it is, right?
Well, for the sake of this podcast, it is. Yeah, you really have to think about it in the abstract, and it kind of leaves a little less brain power for maybe the other things you're dreaming about. So I kind of like to fill in the pages a little bit and give some of that brain power to some new things. That there's just a change up and trying to avoid that burnout, I guess.
For sure. That's why you're a visionary.
Well, thank you. Okay. Well, you answered all of those questions beautifully, and I think that everyone is going to be very, very happy to hear your perspective, and I think that they might just learn something.
Or maybe not. And they'll just laugh.
Yeah, this is a mildly comedic podcast as well, so please enjoy. But I do have one more question. What's your favorite quote, and can you please explain it?
Absolutely. It'll be my pleasure. So I usually say this quote every time my friends and I go get ramen. And every single time I'd go with someone new, someone who doesn't know how to eat ramen just yet.
Yeah, I'm mad that I actually don't get to hear this in like the real context.
Oh,
That's
maybe
okay,
you and I should get ramen one day. But then you'll know how to eat ramen using this quote, right?
Make the mistake or whatever other people do.
Exactly. And so they're like, Trinia, you've eaten ramen before. How do you eat ramen? So
this of you.
So this is a quote by Trinia Madrano, a goofy one. And I say, hey, take the chopstick, scoop a little bit and twirl a little bit with your chopstick. Take a bite and just keep slurping. Hey, it just okay. Here's the explanation of that quote.
Oh my god. Okay.
Yeah, here's the explanation. Here's a deep explanation.
Yes, please explain.
So it's like trying something new, right? You kind of try it out for a little bit, and then you just have to keep going. It's hard. It's hard, and you have to keep going. If you want to get to the end of it, you just have to keep eating. Sorry, I just made that
No,
stuff
I
up.
think, yeah, no, I think if you really think about it, yes, you can apply that to life. Oh, yeah,
But
no.
that is how you eat ramen, everyone.
I love your take on life by looking at how you eat a bowl of ramen. I love that. And I
Thanks.
really hope that people find enjoyment in that, like I have.
I hope so. Oh my goodness.
Okay. Well, thank you, Cadet Madrano, for coming on the podcast with me
What an honor.
today and discussing what you do and what you've learned and what you're proud of. And I really thank you for being so candid with us. I know that people will benefit from it,
I'm so honored. Thank you for having me.
of course. This has been a highly anticipated episode, at least for me.
Me too.
So, if you guys have any questions about what we've talked about today, please reach out. We would be very, very happy to continue the conversation. Okay, Aircats. Well, remember to fly, fight, and win. And I will catch you next time on Aircast.